Going for a walk, and we're gonna talk. Oh yeah. Barney the Wonder Dog is there with Sean on the Mind Walk podcast.
Sweet. Oh, I got a new knife.
Oh,
let me show you this thing.
rad.
Look at that.
Oh, that's pretty slick.
Yeah, it's Dijo. It's a French company.
Huh.
They do the laser engraving on it.
Can I feel?
Yeah. 37 grams.
Nice.
I put my motto on there. Serendipity, luck, and positage. Positage is a thing I invented,
Okay.
which is the opposite of sabotage.
Ah,
Basically putting positive things in your way. Which, you know, it's along the lines of serendipity and luck. But yeah, it was whatever. It's $100. It's got an ebony handle.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like really weighted knives personally.
Yeah, in general, I do too. And this is only going to be like my daily carry for like fashion.
Yeah.
And then if I actually need something, I have my Kershaw that's got a little bit of heft to it, and it's a quick release. That's the other thing that's a little bit of a drag about this is it's not a quick release.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but you know, yeah, it's like it's also because it's got the laser etching on it. You don't.
I would just lose that thing instantly.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I don't want to get like blood and guts all in the etching. You know.
Yeah, that's why for me, like with a knife, I look for something that's just like so big and stupid that you can't lose it.
Yep.
You know, for when I'm out hiking and stuff.
Yep.
I've got one that it's lasted me more than a decade so far. It's like kind of like a sportsman's K-bar kind of deal, but even fatter.
Okay.
It's got an even like thicker blade to it than a K-bar.
Oh yeah. It's not a retractable kind.
No. I've used it to cut a tree out of the way one time.
Fuck yeah.
It took me about a half an hour, but
it worked.
It worked.
Yeah, that's typically like a foldable, quick release.
Yeah.
And typically what I'll do is just go to fucking Big Five, and they always have like a really fancy knife on sale for $30. And I'll just grab that.
Yeah.
I feel like there's something sinister about Big Five. You know, obviously they sell guns and bows and arrows and crossbows and slingshots. But it seems like, yes, you could pay full price for any of these things. But it seems like they always have these fucking sales that they're just dumping really high-end stuff. And I think
it's for the most part, Big Five is just a bunch of Chinese trash.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like most of it's just lowest rung, mass-produced garbage.
Yep.
Very few things there, I'd say, are very specialized.
No, but like I'm saying, if I could find a Kershaw for $30, that's still a decent knife.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same with a Daisy pellet gun. You know, they're still kind of the only manufacturer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God.
I mean, I almost bought one when I was in Texas.
I used to have one of those. It was the Chinese youth training rifle.
Oh yeah.
It's like a really solid pellet gun.
Still like the same pump action design.
Oh yeah. But you'd pump it down. The one that I had, you'd pump it down, and then like it would like breech load.
Oh,
the barrel would stay straight.
Wow.
But this like a little lever in the back would lift
come
back.
out. Yeah.
That thing would break skin. It was a pretty legitimate pellet gun.
Well, I had a Daisy for a short period, and then I overpumped it and blew out the piston, the pump area.
This one you could only pump once.
Okay.
You weren't able to crank that thing up.
So that went away. But then I got it looked like a Luger pellet gun. It was basically a single pump.
Yeah.
One of the things that we could do with it, or at least I did, is I take Q-tips, right? And I cut them in half. And you could either do cotton side forward or stick side forward. And I could fire the stick side forward and it would go through the lampshade.
Nice.
You know, so it's like pretty good.
Put a little sewing needle on the tip of it.
Right?
It's a real
weapon.
Sewing needle.
Yeah, it's a real weapon. Seriously, a real poison dart. But I was, my brother and I were tasked with painting my mother's bedroom. I was like probably 13 and he was 5 or 6. Or wait, how old was 7 or 8 or something like that. So, you know, we're just two punk kids having to paint the room. And I think we were super high on
paint fumes.
Paint fumes, yeah. Because it was the 80s. And I was basically doing that thing like they do in Westerns where I was directing my brother to fucking paint by pointing the gun. Nah, you gotta go over there. You gotta go over there. You know, like a fucking goddamn fucking total outlaw. And he was, you know, we were both in our underwear because we didn't want to get paint on anything. And, you know, he's just being a little punk kid. And I fucking shot him in his ass. It was fucking stick side forward. Bam! So it went through his underwear and stuck into his ass.
Oh, jeez.
It was amazing. And then he, at first, was going to cry. And then he kind of looked down and he started going, "Here comes Peter Cottontail, hopping down." He just went into the song. And he was doing like little poop sounds as if he was pooping between each chorus. And it was the hardest I'd ever fucking laughed in my life. And I think it was a combination of the paint fumes, the fact that he was going to snitch me out to my mom, and, you know, of course, having a fucking Q-tip sticking out of his ass.
That's pretty great.
Yeah, it was quite a day. Oh, those dangerous days of being kid. I also got a bullwhip from Tijuana because my church used to do, like, there was an orphanage we supported in Tijuana, so we'd drive down every month or so and bring clothes and food and stuff. And you know, I always went into the marketplace and would buy some kind of crazy weapon. I got a fucking bullwhip, and I was really good at like snapping it. And one time he was in the backyard, and I fucking pulled back to fucking snap it, and it hit him on his bottom eyelid. And fucking welted that shit. Bam! And yes, of course he was upset. Yeah. But he realized it was an accident. And he's like, "Okay, I'm not going to tell Mom," you know. It's like, okay, good. I don't want to get my... Because that's the thing.
Yeah, you get your bullwhip taken away.
Exactly. Exactly. And, yeah, I didn't have to say... She didn't have to say shit. She saw the welts on his eye, was like, "What happened?" Both of us were like, And then finally, I was like, "It was an accident, Mom. It was a total accident." And she, of course, took the bullwhip away. But, you know, this is the dangers of being young men together in a family. Well, I do have my leash.
I told you they were here.
Is this like an official sheriff's station?
No, they're looking into something, I'm sure. There's a SUV around too. So
gotcha.
Maybe the SUV drove further up the road.
This is just one of those, like, they just park it here and nobody's really...
No, I saw them go in.
Oh, you saw them come in?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like I said, there's also an SUV.
Gotcha.
That might be a little further up the road.
I bet you somebody started a fire.
Ah, man. Somewhere. There's a couple wildfires going on right now.
So is this somebody's residence?
Yeah. There's a few houses still back here.
Wow.
Most of them got burned down back in the station fire. There used to be a few more. But, yeah.
This is nice. And actually it feels like it's one of the closest hikes to whatever, Sun Valley.
Yeah, it's one of the closer ones. It seems like it's gained popularity in recent years. It used to be that, like, no one came back here, you know? But, now it's not uncommon to run into, the whole, side of the road being covered in cars when you drive by.
Like today.
Yeah. You know, when I pulled up, there wasn't really anyone here, though.
Our timing was impeccable.
Yeah.
And I must have just sped right by you. How long have you been here?
About a half an hour.
Yeah, okay. Somehow I missed it coming around the bend there.
Yeah. It's an easy one to miss, though. I once hiked up from here, all the way up to, what is that, Mount Gleason? This was like years and years ago. There's a really cool spot, kind of back here, a little further down the trail, called Big Cienega, which back in the day used to be really swampy, hence the Cienega part. But these days, after the fire, most of the vegetation that was holding the water above, you know, the water,
Table.
so where it actually flowed, has dried up and not come back. So I don't think that we're on the actual trail. I think that we're just avoiding the cops.
Yeah, we're in the basically the riverbed
Yeah.
or creek bed or whatever.
I'm surprised it's not flowing very much.
I mean, we've had a pretty goddamn dry fucking summer.
Yeah.
But we did have just a huge rain,
Yeah, that's
what, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I guess after just hiking in Death Valley and walking along the river there, I just expected there to be a little more water here. I was out hiking at a spot called Panamint City. It's like an old mining town from like the 1850s, 1860s. That's up this canyon, and they got hit with a cloudburst, and it destroyed most of the town. You know, before it really got to get established as a town.
Oh, wow.
So there's a bunch of buildings and stuff back there, and then it's had a couple different cycles of habitation. It got turned into, got used as a mine again back in the 80s, and then the road washed out again, and the only people that were able to get up there were like crazy 4x4 enthusiasts with like a winch on the front of their car and all that.
Oh, yeah,
yeah. So they were doing that for about a decade, and then the road got closed for environmental concerns.
Oh, yeah.
Because it does go through some like pretty sensitive wetlands. But it's a really cool trail. You know, I want to do it in the middle of summer next time.
What'd you say the name of it was?
Panamint City.
Like Tenement?
Panamint, like Panama, but with mints in front of it. Right at the end.
Oh, Panamint.
Panamint.
Panamint. Yes, I've seen that word somewhere.
Don't mind my speech in Panamint.
Hey.
All right. I think there's the trail.
Yeah. As much as I'm enjoying the rock hopping,
Yeah.
it's really the shrubbery that's annoying.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta tie my shoe just a sec.
Sure.
Yeah, I couldn't believe how much Barney was whining in the truck when he smelled you. I was like, okay, we're gonna see him, bud. I think part of it is, obviously, you know, you guys are good friends, but I think that the fact that we go on such treacherous hikes, he's super bonded with you. You know, because you've literally had to help him out of some fucking problem areas.
Oh, yeah. So, current events.
Yes.
What do you make of all this crazy shit?
Well, I mean, so a part of it, I'd say spiritually, this is the same kind of garbage that we do to embassies around the world, right? Where we get some fucking crazy hothead fucking local conspiracy theorists, and then we embed some fucking real serious operators in them, and they go and wreak havoc. You know, so I think it's a very standard CIA Black Ops kind of operation. But I also think it is, I'm saying like the seeing the guys with the zip ties and the real kind of invasion force kind of vibe going on. There's that tactic is real.
Yeah.
And they really killed some people, and it was a bad scene going on. But they were surrounded by so many goddamn yahoos that the American public is not going to really necessarily be able to digest the impact of this thing going on. I was just listening to Dan Carlin on the way here. He was quoting Nixon's biography, talking about something like 40,000 credible bomb threats in a 1-year period after he left office. Because America was so unstable at the time.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be in for a lot of, and again, like the problem is, I don't think they know what their ideology really is. You know what I mean? I think at the core of it, it is destabilization and white supremacy, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think they're even aware. Like most of the people, I think, yes, they have this vague idea about some kind of white superiority, or like, well, men should be the men of the house, you know, like it's a lot of these vague kind of like, I would say like current media manipulated ideas of the loss of certain ideas of culture that they're operating in. And I think, this is as serious as when the fucking Canadians took over the White House in the War of 1812,
So along those levels of seriousness,
Yeah.
there's a couple of little linguistic notes that I
Yeah.
want to make on some stuff.
Yeah.
Calling them zip ties
Oh, yeah.
minimizes it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Flex cuffs.
Yes.
Those are
yeah.
flex cuffs.
They're real fucking...
Those aren't like you're tying cables.
Well, yeah, so this is why Ben Shapiro was trying to minimize
Yeah.
the idea.
Another one that I've seen people try to minimize is, they're just going to get charged with trespassing. Au contraire.
No.
They're getting charged with interfering with federal proceedings.
Yep.
Not trespassing.
They will get charged with that in addition.
Yeah.
And they'll get the vandalism, and they'll get the conspiracy to kidnap.
Here's my take on it. I don't like calling these guys terrorists in this particular case. Even though it fits the dictionary, the dictionary definition, I don't know if it fits the legal definition. Because for someone to be designated a terrorist domestically, they have to be part of a terrorist organization.
Hello.
A designated terrorist organization. This is what led to a lot of people getting rounded up during the Green Scare in the late 2000s, late aughts, early tens. When they were...
Like they're eco-fascists or something like that?
Eco-fascists. Eco-defenders.
Okay. But again, like it's a tough line.
I side with old growth forests over development.
Sure, absolutely. I would say though, when I look at and we can get back to the green thing. when I look at people that are like part of the voluntary human extinction movement, I'm like, yeah, it's a funny satirical idea. And I would say that we definitely need to get a little bit of a more of an ideology around how we're going to stem some types of population growth. I'd say mostly in the top 1%. We got to figure out how to make them stop making babies. But I find that most kind of ecological ideology, just like a lot of ideologies, tends to be it tends to operate in a pretty racist way, right? So let's say if like people want to do some population control, well, it's like we gotta exert population control among the poor.
Yeah,
you know?
I understand that, and that's not what I'm even fucking talking about right now.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just saying, like, when I try to make a distinction between, like, because I think I'm definitely an eco defender also, right? But I found that I'd picked up in my past some of these bad kind of like positions that then when I started doing more research, I realized, okay, I gotta back away from some of these population reduction ideas that I've been playing around with myself.
Yeah.
That's all. I'm just making a distinction.
Oh yeah, of course.
Because I agree. So the green.
So all those guys got rounded up because they were like, part of designated organizations. ELF, ALF, whatever.
Yeah.
These guys that stormed the Capitol, even if they're members of the Proud Boys and Adam Waffen or whatever the fuck, a lot of those white supremacist organizations haven't been designated terrorist organizations.
Gotcha.
So to designate these guys terrorists ends up becoming part of a terrorism bloat.
Sure.
Anyone can be designated a terrorist that we don't like.
Sure.
And I'm not fucking cool with that.
Yeah, no, I get that. And I think also the double-edged sword about this thing is like, the FBI has been traditionally pretty serious about investigating these credible threats. It just happens to be, since 2016, all of the decision makers in positions that could like tell people to go ahead and round them up are basically beholden to a white supremacist agenda.
They switched their operations under Bush.
Really?
Yeah, they switched their operations under Bush from going after white supremacist organizations to going after individuals.
Okay.
Why do you think that they didn't round up everyone at the fucking Bundy ranch?
Oh, yeah.
They only grabbed a few of them and then threw some charges at them that didn't really stick.
Yeah.
So, like,
Well, no, but that's interesting.
That's a lot of this stuff existed before Trump.
Yeah.
As far as the FBI being neutered, going after white supremacists, but always coming down on the left.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Always coming down hard. I'm gonna laugh my ass off though if they use that statute protection executive order to where you have like a mandatory 10-year prison sentence for vandalizing federal property.
Yeah, the one that fucking
Trump himself signed.
Yeah.
I'm going to laugh my ass off if that gets used against the Capitol Hill folks.
I won't laugh because for me it's partially like, well, yeah, again, part of it is like, for me, I look at how just incompetent and really he's just such a chaos agent, like he will take down his own family just to fucking jerk off his own ego.
Yeah.
And if he created a fucking, basically like a trap for his own idiot followers to fall into, good. I'll say, like, now I actually believe the QAnon conspiracies. He's been working on our behalf the whole time.
Yeah.
King pedophile finally.
He finally reveals himself as the general of Antifa.
Yeah. Again, like, he was hobnobbing with, a lot of Hollywood lefty types most of his career, and then just, turned coat when he wanted to make a run for election. So he's just an opportunist. He's not a, and and then it makes me think, is that what Trumpism is? It's just opportunism, white supremacist opportunism. But yeah, I would say the rhetoric that's coming out about him destroying the Republican Party and everybody warning the Republican Party that he would destroy the party when he went into the race, I'm so glad it's happening. Let's just hope it implodes and doesn't fucking get any traction from these recent events. But yeah, I think it's weird because I feel like something like this, I'll just say it's about time, because we have, it's been 10 years coming, this kind of manipulation of the disenfranchised, angry, I think most of them don't even have a real ideology, but because there's all of this kind of faux information coming from whatever Fox News or whatever, they don't have any credible sources that it's like they're eating fucking just junk food.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you eat enough junk food, you'll get diabetes or cancer or you'll have a stroke. And this is the same, I would consider this like almost like a stroke of the political system.
I think it's going to end up with a period of time that looks a lot like the Troubles in Northern Ireland.
I think so. I agree with you.
Where it's like very low intensity attacks that happen fairly frequently.
Yeah. With very specific targets.
And then like a big part of it will be sort of non-state actors as well, like on both sides, non-state actors. Because in the Troubles, you had the IRA, but then you also had the Ulster Defense Force, which weren't backed by they were backed by the government, but they weren't.
But secretly backed by the government.
Yeah, very secretly backed by the government.
They were basically like FARC of Ireland.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting because when I look at these kind of, but I would say I'm on the IRA's side, right? I'm not on the MAGA side.
Yeah.
And I think that this is the weird kind of convoluted logic that's going on where there's no such thing as a real American identity, right? And I think that's what these guys are fighting for in essence. But to me, like, the American identity is like the slaves that built the White House and the Native Americans that we disrupted and the Irish immigrants. And it's like that's the American identity to me, not just some fucking white guy. I mean, a fat white guy that owns a transmission shop in fucking Kenosha. That's not America to me. You know about the? It was you that was telling me about. Wasn't it you that was telling me about the racist texts in the transmission shops?
No.
Oh shit! Where did I hear that? Oh. It was a podcast. Who was talking about it? But it was some guy. He was a comedian that was writing on some show, and he had a fascination, or he's doing research on certain kind of like Masonic KKK connections.
Yeah. And then, Albert Pike.
Huh?
Albert Pike is the main guy there.
Yeah, and so he found that there was these like newsletters that would go out, and they would basically talk about these historical texts that would be at these museums or libraries in these podunk southern cities. And he'd track them down. And when he would get to the place, the address or whatever, and ask for Rex or what, it would be a transmission shop, and they would just have a room in the back where there was these kind of racist libraries. And one of the reasons it was transmission shops is because transmissions are so big and heavy, you can ship them all over the fucking world stuffed with fucking racist literature in them. So they were using the transmission shop network as a cover to, and again, like if you really look at it, if you really look at a lot of the guys who run those places, you know, I would definitely trust a Mexican transmission shop in LA, but everywhere else,
Yeah.
you gotta go to a fucking dirty white guy to fucking get good transmission work. But yeah, so it was fascinating when I heard that, because then it reminds me of the various kind of esoteric libraries that are just out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just gotta open to some weird fucking door in the back of a fucking, you know, a cafe tchotchke shop.
Oh, I mean, having a weird esoteric library in the back of some place that you wouldn't expect is one of my personal, you know, dreams. But that's weird about the super racist Masonic transmission shop libraries.
Yeah, I wish I could remember what podcast it was. When I can, I'll forward it to you.
Sweet.
Yeah.
There's some other topics of all of this shit.
Well, so now there's the most recent news story, and I saw it. I think it was I think the Twitter I follow is called Activist Alert or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And they put a burn notice out for a guy who has been, for about this year, he's been frequenting the BLM and Antifa kind of demonstrations,
Uh-huh.
and integrating himself into these environments. But then he came out on Fox and admitted as an Antifa that he disguised himself as a Trump supporter and went and did some action at the Capitol building. And so their take on it is, oh, he was just infiltrating these anti-fascist organizations so that then when he did something that he was more politically aligned with, it would look like he was, but whatever, that it was coming from the anti-fascists.
Yeah. I heard about this guy. I'm blanking on his name right now. But I'd also heard that he had basically been kicked out of every protest group that he was trying to get into.
Yes.
Like up in Seattle. I don't know if he was in Portland too. But then I also heard something about his brother is like one of the people that works at the Pentagon.
Okay.
There was some other weird connection there. That guy was his first name was Cash with a K.
Yeah. His brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, this guy, he looks, whatever, mixed race, but he's got a very super duper square name.
Yeah.
Like John Davis or something like that.
Stephen Davis or some shit.
Yeah. Something just very not very memorable.
Yeah. Oh no, it was John, because I remember they were saying that one of his code names was Activist John.
Yeah.
So, who the fuck would call themselves Activist John? I mean, come on.
Well, it makes me think that you're going to be an activist for a pro-sex worker.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's interesting because I think that that's just the right kind of... Now, I suspect this guy has a real bad broken brain.
Yeah.
And that he's just looking for some kind of attention, from the media or whatever. It kind of puts me in mind a little bit of not Lee Harvey Oswald. Who's the guy that shot Reagan?
Fuck. Was that... I almost thought Sirhan, but that was...
That's a different presidential shooter.
Fuck, what was that guy's name? He did it for like Jodie Foster or something?
Well, so that's his claim, right? And he was probably, I think they said, not John Wilkes Booth, that's the other presidential shooter. Lee Harvey Oswald, Sirhan. And who shot Lennon? But yeah, so I read an article, an in-depth article on it, on the anniversary of his arrest. or I guess it would be the anniversary of the shooting of Reagan. And it turned out that his family had a pretty intimate relationship with the Reagans.
Uh-huh.
And that one of the reasons why he didn't get treated as badly as most presidential assassins would is that it was kind of like what happened to John Lennon, where it was a madman that knew he had this either psychic or real connection to a famed figure and knew that his action would, it's kind of like, it's almost, I can kind of relate it metaphorically to the Capitol building thing, where it's like, it's all these people that go there to take selfies because they just have this fucking primal impulse to do this thing, but then they don't know what to do after they've done it.
Yeah.
And so I think that, claiming that he was doing it for Jodie Foster was part of his addled mind at the time. And, they were interviewing him, and he was up for parole because once he was on his meds, he was an absolute model fucking inmate. He had contrition about what he had done. He was just like, like I said, they were family friends with the Reagans. And so I think his dad knew Reagan. So he was just like, yeah, I don't know why I would do that. I'd met Reagan a couple times and he seemed like a nice enough guy, like he was really like, but also like, I could also see that as being like some kind of like weird Manchurian candidate kind of situation where and I'm sure it happens. I'm sure I've been attempted to be recruited this way at some point in my life. But where it's just gentle nudging from a variety of outside forces, and then like kind of the inception of an idea of an assassination or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then, this guy who has no particular feelings towards Ronald Reagan finds himself out on the street with a gun thinking he's got to kill Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that this activist John guy is probably somewhere in that same realm where he's probably got some kind of like delicate connection with reality. But then also, if you live on a diet of Fox News, it will convince you to do some crazy ass shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So while I was out in Death Valley, and while I'm on remote hikes in general, I'll listen into AM radio.
Oh yeah. And
one of the things that I've been noticing over the past, since November, is that there's been a slow but steady decrease in Trump support from the hosts of the shows. Yeah. But the callers are just as rabid as ever.
Oh yeah.
And there's still, some pretty fucking rabid hosts out there. Sean Hannity's one. I listened to a couple other. Listened to a couple other that were like on weird Catholic stations that for some reason, like in talking about Catholicism or talking about the Bible, then they go into Trump shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've noticed that there's been a steady decline on that.
Well, I think there's definitely the corporate/elite messaging is being turning down the volume.
Yeah.
Because they got what they wanted. They fully broke the system the way they were kind of attempting to.
Here comes some people, so let's wait up right here because this is a pretty narrow.
Yeah. Let's not make each other sick.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so I think that yes, so there's a 62% still a 62% support among Republicans, and it's like, wow, get him. Well, I mean, I'll say this: he can be, but with the size of dog that you have, he's going to be pretty chill. He's my little... Oh, it's all right. I'm sure being this out here this far, you weren't expecting visitors. Yeah. Oh, there he goes. Got to get that smell in. And of course, right in his way, Barney. What a punk. What a punk. You're just a little monster. Have a good one.
All right, take care.
Which, yeah, 62%.
Yeah.
It amazes me. But, you know, with populist, authoritarian demagogues that are fucking goddamn liars, people love that.
Well, why would Trump lie to me?
They fucking eat that shit up.
Oh, yeah.
And it's kind of amazing. I don't know how I was able to dodge the mind control propaganda bullet along those lines. But I think part of it is, though, I'm not a fan of much of anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I just reconnected with someone from like the chip trash music scene. And I found him on Instagram. Their entire story is just nothing but QAnon shit.
Yeah.
It's just nothing but like pro-Trump shit, and then like, I don't know. A bunch of those guys that were in like weird alternative music scene shits like came out as big Trump supporters.
Yeah.
Hence the Ariel Pink.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'd say like this in a weird way when you're a totally digital being. It's hard to be inoculated against that virus.
Yeah.
You know, when you're just swimming in it all day. I don't know. Have you ever read the Illuminatus trilogy?
I have not.
Oh, you should read it. But I read it when, I don't know, I was 16 or 17, maybe 20. And, you know, he's fucking swirling around in all the conspiracies that were popular in 73.
Yeah.
Which we're still kind of in the shadow of a lot of them. And to me, the book operated as an inoculation against falling for this bullshit.
Yeah.
But, you know, or at least being able to be critically minded around it. But really, it's fucking Proud Boys and MAGA and QAnon. They're just merch opportunities. That's all they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fairy tales to sell fucking t-shirts and hats.
Speaking of which, in the weeks leading up to the 6th,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. You know, they're announcing that they're going to do some crazy shit on the 6th. Let's, like, check in on some of their channels, see what's, you know, popping up. And there was, like, a 5-minute long commercial, political ad kind of deal on InfoWars.
Yeah.
I, like, popped up their band.tv bullshit, you know? And it was all just shots of like Lord of the Rings style armies like clashing.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen clips of this, yes.
For like 5 fucking minutes.
Yeah.
And it's like, they're gonna take the, you know, just all this yelling and shit. And there are folks that have gone on about how groups like ISIS, their ideologies are very similar to the Lord of the Rings.
Huh. That it's some kind of like holy war against Sauron, and Sauron is the United States of America.
Yeah, that it's like this entire like mythological thing that we're, you know, the ones that are on the good side and the other ones are on the bad side. Like when you reduce it down that much of like, this is the good person and that's the bad person. And when you put this entire like epic myth that the individual that's participating in it feels like the protagonist.
Yes. Well, everybody's a Luke Skywalker now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just farm boys working for the rebellion. Yeah, no, it's amazing. But if you really look at, if you were to make Luke Skywalker Arab, I mean, really, it's like, it's the perfect recruiting video, you know. And the Empire is the, you know, the neoliberal America.
Yeah. There's that entire Empire did nothing wrong
Oh yeah.
Meme that had been going around for a long ass time. But that's based on the Nazis did nothing wrong.
Interesting.
The Empire is like a pretty loose metaphor for the Nazis, but you don't really like show what like the day-to-day political structure of the Empire is, you know?
Well, no, but I mean, the big baddie is Dark Father, Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the night before, on January 6th or 5th,
yeah,
I watched Roger Stone take the stage.
Oh, fuck that guy.
And they had some guy that was like doing some hip hop, and they were singing a song, Roger Stone Did Nothing Wrong, without a fucking hint of like self-awareness about that. I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you though, I mean, as much as I am on the, like, let's say Antifa side, for real, I don't want to be in a fascist dictatorship. You know, we're going to be back under a corporate authoritarian.
Where's Barney?
He's right there. He just passed you.
Oh shit. Yeah. Okay.
We're going to be, you know, back into a corporate authoritarian oligarchy. Once Biden gets in office.
Oh, for sure.
So all of our white homes are going to be protected, and our white jobs, which is going to make difficult parsing out the, you know, the real transformation that needs to take place in America about enfranchising the fucking bottom 10%.
Yep.
Yeah. Regardless of color.
So, that's another one that I would just point to, is that I don't see any hope through the Democratic Party
Well,
at all.
yeah.
They're not a fucking workers' party.
Nope.
You know?
They're a corporate oligarchy party.
And like, oh, hey, we're going to pass another stimulus that, okay, yeah, everyone's going to get their $2,000. What if you owe 6 months fucking back rent? You know?
It should be fucking 6 months back rent and $2,000 fucking retroactively to March.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like,
We get the least shit out of any like first world nation.
yeah. So,
You know,
I mean,
developed nation.
I just think that this is what I mean, it's opportunism, but it's what I would consider part of the great milking,
Yeah.
where, you know, you let the fucking cow get bloated and full of property and, you know, capital and goods, and then you fucking, when some kind of disaster strikes, you come in with the carpetbaggers and steal everything they have.
Yeah.
So all of this private property that people are not paying rent and their mortgages on is just going to be swooped up by the same 1%.
Yep.
And they just will own the whole surface of the planet. And everybody will have to pay rent when they're born on planet Earth.
Yep.
And it's garbage. It really is.
Yeah.
So, have we talked about William Gibson? You know, the neuromancer guy?
Yeah. I know William Gibson.
Yeah. So he's got a series of books right now. I think the first one's called The Peripheral. But he's writing about this event that takes place 100 years before the novel, called the jackpot. And it's some cataclysmic event. And I actually think we are in the jackpot right now.
Huh.
And the reason it was called the jackpot is because in his book, it's kind of like a Mozart and Mirror Shades idea, where it's a future society has time travel, but they can only travel to different dimensions in their past. Mm-hmm. And So the elite do this to basically, let me pause a second. The elite do this to build up their stocks in the future. So they go in the past, they manipulate the world, then they fucking collect on it later on. And to me, it feels like we are in the events of the jackpot right now.
Yeah.
A global fucking pandemic, all the resources being stolen from everybody, shitty leadership that's cascading all around the world. I mean, one of the reasons why I'm not in the prophecy game anymore in my sci-fi is because I think it ends up becoming maps.
Yeah.
Like you look at like 1984 and Brave New World, I'm sure there are people in the Rand Corporation that have read those books and like, oh, these are some good ideas in here. You know?
What's it called? Roadside Picnic.
What's Roadside Picnic?
It's the book that Stalker is based on.
Which one?
Stalker. The Russian film with the Zone.
Oh, yeah.
The Zone.
Yeah, the, what's his head? Famous Russian director. Okay, yeah. So what does he say?
I mean, that's a lot of what contemporary Russian politics is being based on right now. The entire like hyper reality shit, where you don't know
what's real and what's not.
Yeah. There's a pretty good book that I read. What is it? I think it's like Nothing is Real and Everything is Possible. The Origins of the Contemporary Russian State. There's some title like that. I forget the exact wording on it. But it was written by a British Russian, or a Russian that grew up in Britain, that then went back to Russia to like work as a TV producer. I think originally for BBC, but I know that he worked for RT for a long time.
Okay.
And just his experiences of the trappings of like Putin's rise to power and the entire thing with like the apartment bombings and all that shit, where like the FSB got caught placing bombs in apartment buildings and blaming it on the Chechens.
It's pretty amazing.
Yep.
And of course, he named it after that quote by Hassani Sabah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you also had a bunch of like crazy televangelist Christians popping up on like Russian late night TV, like just saying crazy shit, like, you know, cut a hole in reality and walk through it kind of stuff. Like
very Videodrome,
occulty kind of weird shit. But these were like cult compounds out in the middle of nowhere in Siberia.
Oh, this is amazing.
It's a pretty good canyon.
What's up, bud?
Yeah, you got like a, I don't know, about 150 foot drop.
Oh yeah. It'd be great to fucking roll a car off of this cliff. Put some explosives on the tank.
Oh God. No, that was last year.
Yeah. I just had another negative test.
Sweet.
Which is good. But I did it at Curative, which, you know.
Oh boy.
Yeah. But I do have a test set up with my hospital, my healthcare facility.
One of my roommates had a scare this week that she met someone that she knew at a park, and they were hanging out 6 feet apart from each other, but speaking without masks for a good while. And then that person went home and found that their roommate had tested positive, and then that person tested positive.
Oh my God.
And then my roommate was like, now we wear masks around the house.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah, because I mean, it's just too fucking crazy right now.
I'm going to say this out loud on the pod, if anybody's listening this far. I mean, I don't think my roommate. I'm moving him out because my friend Nolan's going to move in. But he was going to Tin Horn Flats for a drink.
How is Tin Horn Flats even open?
It's when he said that I didn't respond or react to it. I just basically took note.
Yeah.
And then, because I already knew in my head that I was kicking him out. But just this, and again, like, he doesn't go very many places. He's not super blasé. He's not a fucking anti-masker.
Yeah.
He's just more of a lonely guy who, just kind of thinks like a lot of these MAGA people, that he is just like, a little bit immune.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is the thing I've kind of come to the conclusion. If your nose is sticking out of your mask, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, you're one of the bad guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know better at
Yeah.
this point.
Yeah.
Or you're just slow. I've seen
Still,
the people.
but again, stupid or asshole, right? These are
Yeah.
the two sides of the coin.
Yeah.
And I don't want either one of those near me.
Yeah.
Stupid people in conjunction with assholes are what ruined this country.
Yep.
Oh, this is nice. This is quite a fucking beautiful.
So that mountain up there is called Condor Peak.
Oh yeah, we've
Because-
kind of circled around it in various
Yeah.
places. I think we were able to see it from that fire station that we were at, that fire lookout place, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think you pointed it out.
It's
from there.
one of the prominent peaks in the sort of middle western end of the San Gabriels. So it's not like directly against the city, although you can see most of the San Fernando Valley from it. So, but yeah, there used to be condors that lived up there. That's why they called it that.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I
Maybe
mean, the
one day.
California condor, they're losing their habitat.
Maybe one day they'll come back.
And pick our radiated bones.
You know what we should start doing though, for the condors, in certain areas, is leave the dead whales that wash up on the beach.
Do what with them?
Just leave them there.
Yeah. Oh,
when
for
a
sure.
dead whale washes up, just fucking
Yeah.
leave it.
Yeah.
That's what kept condors alive.
Sure.
That's how they stayed alive as a species. They used to be more widely distributed.
Yeah. Back when there were more whales.
Well, no, back when there was megafauna.
Oh yeah.
When there was like woolly mammoths and shit walking around. Because, that's why condors were so big, is they could scare away
Smaller.
other scavengers from a carcass. But they need like big animals to do this with. Like,
Yeah.
they don't really get by very well with deer. So the reason why they stuck around into, out of the Pleistocene is because on the west coast of the United States, we have more whales wash up.
Oh, interesting.
Versus the east coast, there's not as many dead whales that'll just wash up on the shore.
I bet you it's because of the subducted coast that we have here.
Yeah, that's part of it.
Yeah,
You
because
know,
I feel like the East Coast has got such a long shelf
Yeah.
that, at a certain point the whales are like,
Well,
it's just fucking bullshit over there.
The subducted coast is influencing the, like the ocean currents.
Yeah.
So like, and also like the mountainous areas allow for like wind currents to push the water, and then the top water is able to like move down and into the cold water, and the cold water moves up into the water column, and that brings extra nutrients that the whales.
See, I was just thinking just because it would be, even though it's 3 miles of shelf that we have, it'd be easier for them to go onto our shelf from the deep ocean.
No, it's more about like the upwelling that happens from the deep
okay.
ocean to feed the coastal ecosystems. And that
gotcha.
happens because we have like a general air current that moves from north to south.
Okay.
You see like kind of the opposite direction of how everything works, but you see the exact same thing down in like coastal Peru.
Yeah, because they're the anti-typhoon side of us.
Yeah, antipodal or what have you.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I'm sure I've told you about my fascination with whale fall, have I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's one of the most interesting kind of like temporary ecosystems.
You know what's crazy though is that it's not new.
It's not what?
It's not new. You know, like back in the fucking Jurassic or Cretaceous or what have you, when you had like giant mosasaurs and plesiosaurs and all that. When those motherfuckers would die, they were getting cannibalized by a lot of the same organisms, or eaten by a lot of the same organisms. They find, quote-unquote, zombie worms.
How you guys doing?
You doing well?
Excellent. It's a beautiful day.
Yeah, but they found mosasaur bones that had been partially dissolved and eaten by the quote-unquote zombie worms. They're like the ones that go into whale bones.
Yeah.
And then dissolve the entire bone.
Yep.
To be able to extract those last nutrients.
I mean, I have a fantasy about doing a theater piece about whale fall. Where, you know, it's like we're inside of the whale and I'm talking not in a pirate's voice, and like a Captain Ahab voice. And look, here's the red worms, they come out, you know.
I like part of that idea, but I think that what it should start off with is just like a cement fat guy that just like falls from the ceiling and just like crashes right into the middle of the floor of the stage. And then like you've got like your Captain Ahab guy that's just like coming out as the narrator every once in a while. And then like these other people in costumes that are the different, like, I'm the Yeti crab. And they come out with like this crazy costume. And
sure. I tell you, once we get, here's what I'll say. Once we get theaters back, you and I should collaborate on this for sure. I also think that I agree with you with all this stuff. As long as it's both like educational and funny, if it has all this artsy stuff to it, fuck yeah. I want it to be something memorable. But also, you know, I want it, like, the way I keep on picturing it is like it's only lit like as if we're under the sea in this kind of dark blue kind of thing, and it's like you hear the plop 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 of ocean, and yeah. But yes, I think, but again, like you use the giant fat man as a representation of the whale.
I was just thinking more along the lines of like those you know, like 60s and 70s sort of abstract theater pieces.
Oh yeah,
you know?
Into it.
Rhinoceros or whatever.
You got it, buddy? You got it.
And yeah, this is we're right on top of the falls. They're right over there.
So wait, where is the water coming from?
I mean, it's coming down the canyon.
Okay.
But it goes over the falls right over here.
Okay.
Just trying to figure out what the best route to the I think it's over here.
So I don't fall out of fucking yucca.
So now I'm officially back on I Think You Should Leave.
Fuck yeah!
I was actually working on it today, but it's kind of slow.
Fuck yeah!
Because our official start date's like next week, but I was doing some tests ahead of that for the.
This is why you're the right guy for the job, Joe.
For the coffin break thing.
Oh yeah. A dark recapitulation of your past.
Oh yeah. You know, I might tell the directors about it like once it's all done.
Yeah. Seriously. Oh, this is fucking amazing. I'm glad somebody came here and at least attempted to get rid of the
graffiti.
Yeah. Oh yeah, a real waterfall. Like
Yeah.
this is exactly how I would picture it being underneath Niagara Falls before they reinforced it. Right? Because then they put a real shelf in there, like a.
I don't know.
Yeah, I heard that the American side was closed down because it was eroding, and they didn't want to lose the actual falls, so they they stopped the American side, let the Canada side go, and they just basically fixed the waterfall so it'd still be the spectacular fucking.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, no, again, that's the Disneyfication of like, oh, we have this natural thing that's got this crazy fucking history.
Yeah.
Okay. Holy shit.
Yeah, don't get too close there.
Woo!
That's a drop.
Oh my god. Don't come over here, Barney.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll be fine. He's pretty aware.
Dry, yeah.
This is fantastic.
Back when my brothers were in Boy Scouts, one of their friends fell off of Switzer Falls.
Oh,
on a Boy Scout trip.
Well, that's about like 50 feet, right?
70.
Okay. I know. I was gonna say it's significant without it being like, I guess this is probably.
This is shorter than Switzer's.
Okay.
Yeah, Switzer's is probably like from the top of that set of rocks. Fell fucking flat off. Landed, and then just started laughing.
Woo!
And everyone else was like, "Oh my god! Oh my god!" But yeah, that guy was kind of crazy.
I mean, but he fell though, right? He
didn't jump.
He fell. It wasn't intentional.
It was not intentional.
Woo-wee! Yeah, this is beautiful. You know all the best places, Joe.
Just spent a lot of time in the San Gabriels. I'm trying to find new spots though. Pretty often. Where the hell did I just go? That I hadn't been. I forget. I don't think I've been hiking since I got back from Death Valley. But man, that was fun. The Death Valley hike. I got all the way up to almost 7,000 feet in the mountains up there. Which, doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're starting from like zero, it's...
No, that's a haul.
Yeah.
I think the last time I've done that amount of rise was... I mean, I've done Baldy a shit ton.
Yeah.
But I think that's total 6,500 when you're just going from the park to the peak.
Yeah.
I want to say San Jacinto, maybe? Yeah, that's a haul, baby.
What's it called? When I was out in the Sierras earlier this year, the trail that I was on went like 4,000 feet in elevation gain in about 3 miles. That was just like, you were just climbing fucking stairs. And it's the first bit of the trail that I was doing, so, what's it called? My pack was the heaviest it would be the entire trip, That was a really fun trip. I want to do some more Sierra exploration this summer. The other one that I really want to do is go down to Baja in the spring if I can. Once we start getting out of this awful pandemic.
Well, I'm starting to get emails from UCLA Medical Center talking about their vaccination distribution plan. And, I should be in tier number 2 because of my open heart surgery. So yeah, I'm hoping. Also, I got this crazy phone call. Well, not crazy, but my mom's care facility called me up and asked if she could get vaccinated. And I jokingly, you wouldn't happen to have one for me, would you? And he said, oh, you know what? We might be able to. If all of our citizens, all of our clients get vaccinated and we have some left over, I'll give you a call. So
nice.
Yeah.
So you're telling me I got to go and get some open heart surgery. And get a job as a cop, and
Yep.
you know, those
I mean, you're definitely the last in line to get
oh yeah,
vaccinated.
I'm so far back in line.
You're going to die of COVID before you get a chance to get vaccinated.
Pretty much. The least useful member of society, right here.
Yeah, well, I mean, if this was a worker's paradise, you'd be the number one. This guy shows up for work every day.
Never called in sick.
Get him a vaccine.
Hero of the Soviet Union. Took 16 tons of coal in one shift. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if, you know, given how inefficient, quote unquote, the very first stages of the vaccine rollout were.
Oh my God.
If the 1% weren't already the recipients of all those.
Oh yeah, I think anytime there's a cover of chaos, the fog of war, as it were.
Oh yeah.
These motherfuckers fucking cash in.
Oh, for sure.
That's the whole point. This is why things are disorganized, so they can fucking rob the fucking bank.
I mean, I think I remember, I don't know if it was true or not, but like fucking Jared Kushner had purchased shit tons of masks just before they announced that masks were going to be needed.
Yeah.
When they were, when the feds were, you know, robbing everyone's PPE.
Yeah. So hand it over to their own cronies, which makes me want to be a crony. I mean, this is the tough part. Is like, so, you know, you were talking about the IRA and the, Ulster, what was the name of the Ulster?
Ulster Defense Force.
Yeah, the UDF. Have you seen that movie, The General?
I don't think so.
Okay, it's Brendan Gleeson as this very famed, I wish I could remember, Robbie. He was a very famed Irish gangster in Ireland. And he got busted because even though he was apolitical and he didn't want to provide arms for the IRA, they made him an offer that he just simply couldn't refuse. Because he was just a fucking mobster. He didn't want to fucking be involved in the troubles on either side of it, you know? He just wanted to fucking make his money.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it makes me think of like, well, I wonder if I could just go into more organized alternative ways of getting things done. Ultimately, so they one of the reasons his gang made the news is they did one of the biggest art heists in history. They went into some famous Irish music. They cut all the paintings out of the frames. The funny thing that happened, though, is they stashed them and hid them. And by the time they went to go back and pick them up, they're all covered in mold. Yeah. Because they have them buried in some peaty Irish field, you know?
Yeah.
It's a great movie, though. I think Ray Donovan's dad, fucking Angelina Jolie's dad. Why the fuck can't I think of his name? He plays the chief of police, chief of Dublin police. It's a good movie. It's one of my. It's John Boorman who did Excalibur and Deliverance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a Boorman.
Yes.
I thought you said Corman.
That would be amazing.
That would be a completely different movie.
That would be amazing. Yeah, one of the funny things, and I think it was probably an affect of the real guy, one of the funny things that Brendan Gleeson does is anytime he's talking to one of the cops, he's almost like doing like a face mask, like a hand mask. He's covering his face as much as he can with his hand. And I'm like, that's kind of a funny bit. Like, you know, I'm going to do whatever I can to conceal my identity. Oh, man. But yeah, I think you're right. It's going to be a lot of random acts of violence. It's so interesting, though. There are so many, Hispanic dudes that are on the white supremacist side of the battle.
Oh, that's nothing new.
No, but it just to me it's like interesting.
Oh,
because it's like, I mean, yes, it's part of the whole, you know, machismo culture and the, you know, the superiority of having pale skin. They're going to be out in the open for the next 4 or 5 years. I also think the crazy thing is somebody is going to really try to put some credible fucking threats against Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
Oh, for sure.
And it's like, these guys had nothing to do with it.
Yeah. What's it called? You know, I think it's going to be kind of like a continuation and an intensification of stuff that was already happening.
Yes.
You know, especially if you look at like, for a number of years, a lot of these like mass shootings that were really fucking whiny white dudes shooting women.
Oh, yeah.
There was the guy in Santa Barbara, I believe.
Yep.
And then there was another one where some guy went into like a yoga class, turned out the lights, and just started shooting.
Yep.
These guys were like radicalized incels.
Hey, Barney, be a good boy.
And
be a good boy, bud. Be a good boy. Slow down. It's okay. Let me just pick you up, bud.
Yeah.
It's okay. You're saying literally, like literally mind your own business, Barney. How's it going? So far, so good. There you go, bud. There you go. You too. Go.
Yeah, so these guys were, like radicalized fucking incels.
Yes.
And in the same way that like radicalized incels are a thing, now you're going to see it with like
radicalized MAGAs.
MAGAs and QAnons.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, part of it is like, I mean, I really think it literally. This is the tough part to say about this is literally they got nothing better to do.
Yeah.
Their lives are pretty pointless and meaningless, and there's really we don't have any good, like at least when you had some kind of like, you know, dominant religious thing, or even the space race or whatever, or if our nation was at a real war against the Nazis, there's an energetic that you can put.
An energetic cultural myth, you say?
Yeah, something like that. something. But again, that's what these are. These are just now, but they're a little more homegrown, or. I mean, it's operating in the same fucking. You know, it's whatever. It's 1984. It's get people all riled up against Eurasia.
I think it also is along the lines of like the power process that Kaczynski talks about.
Ted Kaczynski?
Yeah. Well, because like one of the things that he's on about is that in hunter-gatherer societies, having to, you know, go and chase down your food and all these sorts of things does give you a grand personal narrative.
Yes. And then you could come back and tell it to the fucking tribe.
Like, I don't think that he says grand personal narrative, but like that's kind of what's going on there.
Yeah.
You know, like that you expend some energy and then you get some stuff back. Whereas, you know, people that sit around and play fucking video games, or not, maybe they just sit around and watch Netflix.
Yeah.
Or maybe they drive around in their lifted truck.
Yeah.
You know, like whatever they're doing to fulfill the power process will never be enough.
Yes. Well, and I think that part of that has to do with because they're not having they're not cashing in on their adrenal exhaust, because all of these things that they're looking at or experiencing, they're having these kind of half-assed like adrenal cortisol responses without actually running down the prey, without actually sweating and having to pick up the spear and feel the fear or whatever. Like they're just it's creating a chemical state for themselves without actually expending any energy behind it.
The worst smelling sweat is Mountain Dew stress sweat.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that should tell us something. That's basically like if we were fucking predators, that would be, or whatever, if we were in a natural state, that'd be the fucking animal we'd kill first.
Yeah.
That one's toxic. Fucking let's kill it. So I mean, I hate to agree with Elon Musk, but he was saying that most of America, most of the world, the technological part of the world is in an adrenal thyroid crisis, because nobody is really using their bodies in these ways that they, for whatever thousands of years of evolution we've done, and now we're in this space where our fantasy lives can run, and they're also being driven by the fucking Marvel narratives of the Avengers. I mean, these motherfuckers are wearing Punishers and fucking Captain America fucking logos. And they're the bad guys. You know what I mean? It's like, you guys are... it's
in Slaughterhouse 5, when the American Nazi shows up and he's wearing that, like, Super America suit.
Oh, yeah.
And then he's like, fighting for the Nazis would be great, trying to convince the POWs to join the Nazi side. That's what those motherfuckers are doing.
Yeah. But that's how great fucking mythology and disinformation is. And I think adrenal. Speaking of the Nazis, I think that we also, our politics, and if you want to talk about the deep state, that was founded on Nazism. All of our fucking secret.
When you say deep state, you're going to have to be like specific, and you mean about that. One of the things that is becoming more apparent to anyone that was talking about the deep state, is what there's a kind of a difference between people that are like, career bureaucrats, and then that like work at the fucking DMV or whatever, versus people that are career
intelligence
operatives and state security apparatus.
So that's the deep state I'm talking about, because the CIA was founded as the OSS, MK Ultra, and all of the Ivy League colleges took in Nazi scientists. Basically, the main post-World War II science programs in America were driven by a lot of the same scientists that were driving, kind of the development of technology in Germany. Now, again, I don't know if necessarily these scientists had Nazi ideology or they were just happy to do their work, but we know the intelligence apparatus was definitely founded by, they gathered fucking so much data on how the Nazis were doing their intelligence operations and basically just set up our intelligence operations. And, they read all the same anti-leftist or anti-progressive literature, basically all the tanky literature that the Nazis read to how to disrupt any kind of populist movement. So they're using the same tactics, is what I'm saying. And I think it's hard when you're using these kind of oppressive tactics to really separate yourself from the ideology. And of course, we know fucking the heart of America is a white supremacist, anti-gay, Jewish,
I'd say that it's more along the lines that these jobs of security person, or fucking, state security apparatus folks, for jobs of cops and all this, they tend to attract specific personality types.
For sure, absolutely.
It's like, not all Boy Scout leaders are pedophiles, but a lot of pedophiles become Boy Scout leaders.
And I agree with you. And again, I think it's a biofeedback loop, because I think that the authoritarians want to go in there and crack some skulls, and it just happens to be the easiest skulls to crack are the marginalized people, the poor people, and the ones that are easy to identify as not part of the state apparatus, i.e. they have different skin colors, or weird last names,
Yeah.
So it's just easy for an already bigoted authoritarian police state to just entrench itself in that, in that oppressive ideology.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, whatever. I posted a thing on Facebook today. It's like, maybe no straight white dudes should be cops anymore or law enforcement anymore. I wouldn't mind that. Could you imagine a fucking getting pulled over by by a police state that is the other guys?
God damn it, they're going to say that I can't say Merry Christmas anymore.
Well, that's fine. I mean,
it's all part of the war on Christmas.
Here's the thing. I pretty much kind of divorced myself pretty hard against Christianity because of a lot of these cultural problems with it.
Yeah.
But there is a part of me that could easily just fall back into a certain kind of Gnosticism. I mean, part of that has to do with my leanings towards psychedelics, but that's a whole nother thing. You should read, I've been pushing this book hard. It's called The Immortality Key. And it's like tracing the roots of the religion with no name. But he makes a claim that the Eucharist, the early Christian Eucharist, was a psychedelic Eucharist. And I'm like, yeah, fucking Jesus was your mushroom guy.
I was just listening to a podcast about Proto-Indo-European horse sacrifice rituals. And like all the shit with like the horse twins and all this.
Yeah.
And one of the ones that I found kind of great on this, how like the horse was associated with the solar chariot, that was like associated with Mithras, that was associated with, solar return sort of Christmas tree ritual shit.
Yeah.
But one of the things that was fairly common in the Proto-Indo-European linguistic unit was before you would sacrifice the horse and feed it to all your men as part of a kingship ritual, you would oftentimes have to fuck the horse while it was alive to demonstrate like your strength, that you're able to fucking throw down a horse and fuck it.
See, interestingly, I have a theory about that.
And also they would do other ones where the horse would fuck the queen. There was a lot of horse fucking.
A lot of horse fucking. See, I have a theory about that. Now, while I don't doubt that there was probably more rampant bestiality going on prior to bestiality laws in the world and prior to PETA, I actually have my suspicions that some of these rituals were kind of like, they were like psychedelic rituals where a temple prostitute would dress up like a horse and you would be fucking so baked out of your mind it'd be like you were fucking a horse. I mean I suppose it's either one is possible. Neither I couldn't I didn't witness it.
I think they probably like really fucked a horse.
Wow.
I don't know, like there's something about like Vikings slamming down a horse and fucking it. Seems plausible to me.
Well, I was also going to ask you about, did they drink the horse pee?
After it ate some mushrooms?
Yeah. Is it this
or
that?
I think it's either or, but that one
seems a little more... Yeah, no, I mean,
logical.
That's a muscimol, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's reindeer pee, but I'm sure it would happen with most large-sized mammals anyways.
Well, I don't know. Like, the metabolism of a horse is going to be very different than the metabolism of a reindeer.
It's true.
There's, plenty of things that'll, like, kill a horse if they eat it, but, like, wouldn't kill a person. So I would have to assume that there's plenty of things that would, like, kill a horse but not a reindeer.
Yeah, but I wonder...
I'm no veterinary scientist here, but I just imagine that they're all slightly different on what different animals can eat.
What different animals,
and what it's going to process as its secondary metabolites.
Yeah, exactly. So, but one of the things, like in this book that I thought was so interesting, because he sets it up like this kind of like worldwide adventure of tracking down the recipe of the original psychedelic Eucharist, the pharmakos. And one of the things he talks about is that there were these barley wines that probably had ergotism in them, that they were, if you want your gulpy.
No thanks.
It's all covered in COVID. That there were all these different kind of medicinal tinctures that would do all these different kinds of, psychedelic magical spaces. I wonder, whatever they were giving, I think Amanita muscaria to the reindeer.
Yeah.
Maybe there was some kind of psychedelic horse that made the horse pee drinkable. I don't know. I'm just speculating. I don't know why I'm so fascinated. I do want to try some Siberian muscimol at some point.
Oh, you better go quick before it all melts.
There was I think it was in the TV show Fortitude. This Russian Siberian shaman is keeping a reindeer in his room to harvest the muscimol from him. And of course, then it's a whole crazy thing where he cuts off his nuts to murder the demon-possessed cop. It's a very interesting story.
Wait, what the fuck is this?
It's called Fortitude.
Uh-huh.
And so the basic idea, you mentioned the kind of the permafrost melting off, is it's this international. It's basically mostly being administered by Norway, but it's got some British interest and some American interest. But it's an Arctic Circle town that has international fisheries and an oil rigs, right?
Uh-huh.
And there's an Arctic Research Center because the polar ice cap is melting. They find this gigantic cave full of mammoth bones, and as it's melting, these fucking mosquitoes are coming to life off of the bones. They've been frozen for thousands of years, and people are getting bit by these mosquitoes, and it's causing this viral infection that turns them into cannibals. And then when they're cured of it, or when they live through it, or they don't get killed by people hunting them down because they're in this zombie cannibal state, there's something has happened to their brain where they feel like, Brundlefly in The Fly.
Uh-huh.
He's like, everybody should teleport. You'll feel like a god. So afterwards, these guys all feel like gods, and Dan is the sheriff's name, is just being a real dick because he doesn't think he can die. And so the shaman he's basically hired by one of the ladies in town to kill him, and part of his shamanic ritual is to cut off his own balls and then go and kill Dan, and it works. Yeah. It's a great fucking TV show. Maybe I spoiled it for you, but as you go along, you're just like, what? You're kind of like, I just like any TV show that takes place in a frozen place. But yes, the shaman was harvesting psychedelic reindeer pee in his apartment.
That's pretty great. I had some friends that were really on about the it's not the Bofo alvaria, the Colorado river toad.
Mm-hmm.
They were into some other frog venom that supposedly boosts your immune system.
Fuck yeah. Is it psychedelic also?
No,
Damn.
but it does make you throw up.
Hey, if on the other side I turn into Wolverine.
Yeah, they're like, instead of getting a flu shot, I go and get injected with frog venom, which, I don't know, couldn't you just synthesize those compounds?
It's tough though, because when I think about, let's say, traditional medicine, I don't say this even about the difference between vaped DMT and smoked DMT. The ceremonial way in which some of these things are done, I think, inform how the medicine affects your body. Like if you're just scraping it off the frog and injecting it in your arm rather than synthesizing it, I'm sure there are other maybe toxins that are in there, and then your body's having a different kind of reaction.
Well, then you could analyze it, find those toxins, and add them to it.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, like what if that frog had fucking PTSD? You know?
but you know, because I would say like I've smoked DMT and I've vaped DMT, and mostly the difference I would say is you could vape DMT by yourself. It's hard to smoke DMT by yourself, which I think informs the experience a little bit. But I found that the visions that I was getting from the vaped DMT felt more digital, and the ones that I got from the smoked DMTs felt more analog. You know, they're a little like squirrelier and fluid in the smoked versus the, you know, the vaped. But again, it's just a slight difference in the quality of experience. You could definitely see other universes for sure. But that's also like, I feel like the difference between edibles and smoked marijuana. I think you're going to be more likely to do such a massive dose if you do an edible without an awareness of how massive it is, where if you're smoking it and you're coughing, there's a natural bottleneck to how much you can consume.
Yeah, so like, you know, for instance, with the Colorado river frog, not all of it is the 5-MeO DMT or whatever.
Yeah.
There's, you know, some other filler.
Yeah.
And there's some other mucus, just regular ass mucus. Take the active ingredient, take, you know, whatever minute amounts of bofo-tenine or whatever, add those little bits together, add it with some mucus. Hey, fucking, there you go.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to fucking go and scrape the sides off of some frog and then like fucking kill the frog in the process.
It's true. One of the things that in the immortality key that they talk a lot about, and he said it could be both metaphor but also literal, is that there was a chance that a person could die taking this. And like I said, maybe it was just like ooh, this stuff is dangerous, you could die. And then also maybe people actually got toxic doses. But I also think what they were talking about and why it's called the immortality key is like when you have a big mushroom journey and you feel like you've experienced death, you know, you're basically your basic death trip, as it were.
Yeah.
They were probably just experiencing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, the awesome thing about this book that I think is like, he has it right at the end. It's a little bit of you have to get all the way to the end to get this kernel, is the Catholic Church spent hundreds of years murdering witches because they were the caretakers of the knowledge of the psychedelic Eucharist. So basically the patriarchy did everything they could to eliminate the psychedelic history from Christianity, including, you know, just whatever, murdering generations of witches, of women. It's fucking crazy. Which, that alone should make me never want to fucking be involved in Catholicism. Boop, 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 boop. Oh. Be careful, bud. You've already fallen in the river once today. But yeah, I mean, I feel like the new modern take on witches, not enough psychedelics.
Yeah.
Too much tarot and fucking Carly Simon hats, and not enough fucking
greasing up the broom pole.
Yeah, seriously.
And fucking covering yourself with some scopolamine and atropine.
Yeah.
Running around naked in the woods. I just had to make a witch's broom prop a couple months ago, and I made it like.
Was this right around Halloween?
It was around that time, yeah.
Okay.
A little before, but what's it called? I made it like super greasy looking.
Yeah.
With that specific story in mind about how the witches used to make
the broom was an applicator.
Grease salves.
Yeah.
And then put them in either their armpits or
the
right up
vajayjay.
against their vajaj.
Yeah, basically anywhere where there is either squamous or a porous part of the epidermis. Yeah, no, it's interesting how witches riding on brooms, our classic, Halloween decoration is actually about a fucking drugged up dildo.
I mean, fucking Santa Claus.
Yeah,
is a fucking mushroom.
He's a mushroom. He's the Amanita muscara.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, again, with the reindeer, the reason the reindeer fly is because of the fucking mushrooms.
And the reason why he comes down your chimney is the Sammy houses had a chimney in the center of them.
Okay.
And if you were so snowed over, that was the entry and exit point to the house.
Oh, wow.
In the winter.
Wow. And the Sami are actually where we get the original shamanic, the Russian shamanic tradition is of the Sami people. They're the ones who invented or whatever, harvested the muskemall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're mentioned in, I was just watching a thing on this. They're talking about in the Icelandic sagas, they talk about Sami magic, and they use it sort of as like a feminine insult to some of the other gods. Like, oh, you beat the drum like witches do. And it's meant as like this, like, you're femme. You're one of them femboy gads.
Well, it's interesting because I feel like all of these insults of feminism is really part of the, toxic masculinity, patriarchal kind of like dominance and erasure of these more feminine forces that were at play. I think we're right now at peak masculinity. I don't know if we can get any more butch than we are. It's possible, but I'm hoping that the pendulum will start swinging back.
I think it's already on that swing back.
Oh, good.
I don't see it as we're at the peak of masculinity anymore.
Oh, good. Well, I mean, I actually was listening to a podcast about Gabriel D'Annunzio, and he seemed like peak male. He was he was basically the inventor of fascism.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's the tide is starting to turn.
I think it's been turning for a minute.
Yeah. Do you have like a start point?
Not particularly.
Gotcha. I'm just trying to, I'm always trying to be like, that was it.
That was the day it all changed.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like you could almost point out, the day the birth control pill or abortion was legalized or whatever. That's the beginning of the release of that totalitarian grip on,
along those lines, I think it's hilarious that Ariel Pink got canceled because this. Fucking all the MAGA people are now going, oh, well, he got canceled by the left. Now I'm going to listen to his music to spite the libs. And then they're going to go, wait a minute, this is kind of gay, but I kind of like it.
But I like it.
But
I'm doing this to own the libs. I'm just sucking this dick to own the libs. Just sucking this dick to own the libs.
But no, I think that's kind of a funny thing about it, I don't know how long it'll last, but I've already seen like some like Twitter posts of like gnarly looking biker dudes with like reflector sunglasses type shit. So they're like, you just don't understand aerial pain. And they're like, I don't know if you've been listening to his shit, but okay.
I mean, I don't know his music. Is he gay? I mean, his name's
No,
Ariel
but like
Pink.
his music's like very, very femme sounding. It's not bodies hit the floor, kind of. That was the one that really was the tipping point.
Oh yeah.
When the bodies hit the floor.
Which to me, it's now like I've heard it like kind of like dropped by so many comedians and let's say in an improv show or whatever, that it feels satirical.
Yeah.
Like I feel like even when they made the song, they were like, can we just make the most outrageously fucking violent song? Just from the standpoint of like, yeah, because I look at like, I think a lot of these whatever artists that take these extreme stances, they're doing it as a bit. I don't think they're artists. I don't think they necessarily believe the things they're saying.
I think that that ends up being cover for the ones that do.
Sure, absolutely. Absolutely.
So like one that I would definitely point to would be like Death in June. They're like a neo-folk band that very gothy sounding, very like folksy sounding stuff. But all their lyrics are like, the Nazis were right.
Oh,
and
shit.
then you're like, it's the singer's gay. He couldn't possibly be a Nazi. He hangs out with Jews. I've heard these defenses of their music, but no, they actually are fucking neo-Nazis.
Well, just like Ace of Base, right? Ace of Base, that all that she wants is another baby is basically a critique of welfare mothers. Yeah. And so they're kind of a right-wing authoritarian, a little bit fascistic, but like not the girl, but it's the guy in the band.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice boulder. But then you look at like, I don't know, Trent Reznor. He's literally just an artist, but he makes such dark things that people confuse him and his art all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, he's on the Netflix. It was a podcast, but now it's a TV show called Song Exploder, and he talks about hurt on it. And I'm a big fan of that song. It's really good. I don't think I'll watch any other episode because I don't give a fuck about Dua Lipa. But yeah, I get it. Yeah, it's tough because I think, like, let's say for me as a clown, let's say if I put on a fucking clown nose or I'm wearing something ridiculous and I say something, it's like, yeah, I'm indicating to you with the stupid hat that I'm wearing that you shouldn't take anything I say serious, I mean, I'm not going to do like a Boris Johnson and have a fucked up fucking messy hair to make people think I'm not a fucking total racist. But but that's, again, it's the problem with fucking Boris Johnson, is he's ruined looking like a fucking clown, right? Because he's a really bad person that has developed this look so that people underestimate his evil. I think it's kind of, I don't want to say it's kind of the same with Trump, because I think he takes very seriously his vanity.
Yeah.
But to me, anybody that's that serious about their vanity is a bad person.
Yeah.
Yeah. He just he has no self-awareness around that. I mean, I've heard, we know he wears a diaper, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard that during the election cycle, he was eating so much junk food and farting up the place so bad that the fucking all the staff just had fucking scented candles burning all over the White House because he was just farting up the place so bad.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Exercise the shit ghost, man.
Yeah. And now he's got, like, literally, he's just just an isolated, he's, again, like, this is if you know your history, this is where all the fucking bad guys end up, wandering their bunkers alone, fucking thinking the whole world's out to get them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I think that a lot of the world is out to get him right now.
Well, I'd say that I'd say there are energies that are very aligned against him. But for me, it's like, you know, once he gets kicked out of that fucking house and he has to go somewhere, I'm hoping I never hear the fucking name Donald Trump ever again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, what happened to that guy?
What's it called? It's been kind of funny watching like the QAnon folks, their heads just kind of exploding.
Yeah.
After he like denounced them.
Yeah. Oh, he's again, like he's like a typical authoritarian fascist. He despises his base.
Oh yeah.
He like literally said, "Oh, they're tacky" or something when he was watching the footage of them attacking the Capitol.
He's like, "I'm glad for COVID. Now I don't have to shake their hands anymore."
Yeah. Fucking real fucking. Just I don't know how you again like. How do you lack? But to me, this is this thing I've been working on, and I don't know what to do with this idea. But I think it's true of, you know, whatever, narcissists or people that have personality disorders. But I also think it's true, you know, of some autistic people, is that they have a weak theory of mind, where they are not able to speculate what other people are thinking, or they think everybody thinks exactly the same way they do. You know, they don't imagine that there are people out there that could have differing views, or that understanding their differing views can help you understand that person. You know, they've never kind of really internalized the idea of walking a mile in another person's shoes. And I think that that's a big problem, because I think it's a developmental stage that, you know, most thoughtful humans go through. You know, you go from being your solipsistic, the world revolves around me, when you're a child, and then at a certain point in your, you know, early teens, you start developing this kind of, you know, primal theory of mind ideas where you can start to speculate how other people think. And then that becomes, you know, kind of where people can build their empathy or their ability. Like one of the things that I can do is I'll just tell my horrific story, and then somebody else will go like, "Oh my God, I had a similar horrific story," and it builds these kind of emotional connections with people. I just don't think he's ever had that. I think he's never had to speculate on the idea of walking a mile in another person's shoes. He's never, ever. Oh yeah, we were down there, right?
I don't know if we were down there, but this will take us out.
Yeah.
Just the same.
But yeah, there's a TED talk in me about theory of mind, where it's kind of like, you know, I could point to all the great villains in history and kind of like show how their theory of mind was maladjusted to being empathetic. But, you know.
Well, next time the Experimental Future Fest comes around, we'll sign you up.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely do my theory of mind talk there. And it's mostly I'll use Rachel Haywire as my subject matter.
Oh God.
I mean, but again, like, she's a prime example, right?
Yeah.
Where she's so caught up, and again, it's because, you know, her neurodiversity, she's just never had to develop the empathetic skills, you know. So everything she just, as a defense mechanism, everything she does is just for her self-aggrandizement. And she is manipulative enough to know that she can. Oh yeah, this is where we came up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we can go.
No, let's.
Want to go back through there?
No, actually,
Yeah.
let's pass by.
Yeah.
Let's pass by.
You know, she's just a manipulator. She was only using other people for her own ends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad her trust fund ran out.
Is that what's going on?
Yeah, that was her entire trust fund.
Wow.
On the Experimental Future Festival. After that, she was like, "Oh fuck, I have to get a job."
So, do you know what she's doing? Have you been following her?
I have not. No.
Yeah. I'm not interested.
Yeah, Sam.
At all.
I ran into her a couple years later at a zine fest, but she seemed to be about the same person.
Yeah. I mean, I will say, like, she strikes me, and this is going to be, if I could predict her end state, she's going to be, I'll just say a fat lesbian who has some kind of partner that's completely under her emotional thrall, and they're going to be pulling low-grade scams.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's already kind of what it was. That's part of why I got involved, you know?
Yeah.
Because I saw the lineup for that thing, and I'm like, oh, man, this is great.
Oh, yeah.
And then I heard from a friend, this is being organized by Rachel Haywire. And I was like, oh, no.
Yeah.
This is bad.
Well, I mean, luckily I met you there. Luckily, I don't know who did you just volunteer?
I just volunteered, yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I think I maybe even emailed Rachel directly because I still had her email from, I went out to New York to like shoot a documentary on her.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you caught that part of the story. Back when I was dating that like Getty heiress, they ran into each other outside of like a screening for like Holy Mountain in New York. And then my girlfriend, like at the time,
Was looking for her next project?
And I'm like, well, I'll shoot this documentary with you guys. And I went out there for like a week and just like experienced how fucking crazy Rachel is.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, so I forget where I must have saw it on like I'm going to say a Facebook ad or something. Like a friend of a friend is like, oh, they're looking for producers for this thing. And I literally just emailed her, contacted her. I went over there and I was like, oh, I'm a big time television producer. Blah, 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 blah. And she immediately gave me the job.
Yeah.
Which I should have known, you know.
Yeah.
That it was so easy to get the job that it would have been that she was just looking for shills.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm glad. I mean, it was a powerful experience for me. And I had my last major psychotic break during the Extreme Futurist Fest.
I kind of remember you went disappearing for a couple days at a time.
Yeah.
Around that time.
Well, I was also working full time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just jam in when I can. But I was pushing myself too hard. I was recently sober. Whatever.
Yeah.
Not that recent, but still dealing with my grief issues. And I was doing my job well. I was able to get shit done, but I was also losing my fucking mind.
Rachel ended up in the fucking hospital.
Yeah.
For stress, quote unquote.
Yeah.
I
believe it.
Yeah.
So my psychotic break, and it was kind of related to a recent mushroom retreat I'd done, and I didn't fully integrate, and I was in a pretty bad dissociative state, just a major dissociative state. That's why I volunteered to do that shit, because my body was saying yes to shit I didn't really want to do. And I was fully emotionally convinced that the 2012 prophecy was, I was there. Intellectually, I'm it's not going to happen. But in my deepest soul, I was hoping the fucking Extreme Futurist Fest was going to open a fucking dimensional black hole and we were all going to be sucked into it. And that was my suicide fantasy,
Yeah, suicide by survival research labs is pretty good.
Right? But again, you would expect a robot fucking battle at the portal to the end times.
The thing about that, though, is the portal to the end times would have just been ripped out of the entrails of the latest human sacrifice in the Aztec or Mayan religion.
Yeah. But that's
what I was expecting. It would have
just
continued on.
Yeah.
It would have been, a hell of a party, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, it was.
Yeah.
It was. It felt very apocalyptic to me. In my mindset. It was great. I had a fucking great time.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm so glad I was involved. And, I feel like I made some pretty good friendships out of it. But I think that it's like, just like any of these kind of like volatile experiences, yeah, some people you end up making friends with, some people you never want to talk to again.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember a couple months after that, I was driving to my job at an oil refinery, and I got a call from Mark from Negative Land.
Oh, yeah.
I missed the call. I just got the voicemail, and it was like, "Hi, Joe. This is Mark from Negative Land, and I just calling to say, what the hell was that?"
Well, maybe if we...
I tried to call him back, but he didn't pick up.
So I was going to say, maybe we can, if we do a kajigger, because I want to make this just like the Joe and Sean podcast at some point. But maybe we could do an oral history of the Extreme Futures Fest 2012.
That'd be pretty great.
Right? And we just get like Mark and Mark Pauline and, you know, just like they get their perspective on what happened.
Was it the two science boys? Those were Chris and Nick, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. See what they're up to.
Yeah. And I still have a good chunk of the, you know, people's information, you know. And we could have a strict no Rachel policy.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because I think, you know, ultimately it was an experience that we had.
Yeah.
So we should be able to talk about it as honestly as we can. Yeah, she almost fucking scammed me. But I'm a fucking too much of a hustler, baby. Like, I had to pay out of pocket all the hotels for Survival Research Lab. Because they were like, we were promised hotels. And I paid out of pocket. And then I talked to Chris. And I told him, hey, as soon as the fucking first ticket sales come in, you owe me $1,500. You got to fucking give it to me right away. I don't want fucking Rachel to get her hands on that shit.
Yeah. What's it called? I ended up holding a box of her personal books hostage to get my roommate paid for renting Lydia lunch in Amp.
Yeah, acidexia.
So, yeah. I still have a copy.
I still do too.
This is awful.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely
but it's vanity press.
Yeah.
And but it's also, it's like in that very particular space of like, you know, transhumanist, post-rave, you know, pre-Burning Man, you know, like it's that, it really is it's very 90s in actuality, even though she probably wrote it in 2005 or whatever.
90s didn't stop until 2005.
Yeah, it's true. But yeah, I feel like it's just the one or two things that I've read from it, I'm just like, but again, it was like vanity press, or I think she was maybe even like sleeping with the dude who published it for her or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the other thing that she was good about. Making you think you could fuck her. She's one of those girls.
Yeah.
And, I mean, when I went to go have my meeting with her, she had just gotten out of the shower, and she was hanging out in her towel, and I don't know if she accidentally, on purpose, flashed her beaver at me, you know. And because she's like, has that, like, that real aspy kind of, like, can't give you good eye contact thing going on.
Yeah, yeah.
So I could never tell how aware she was of, like, kind of, you know, and again, like, ultimately when I saw her, she had, like, that kind of, like, horse cow quality to her vagina, you know what I don't know. Again, speaking about having sex with horses, it just hung in a way that I was just like, oh.
God.
Like just like somebody who didn't really take care of herself very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Years and years of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Poor mad Rachel. She's just, but you know, she's had some pretty good times in her crazy old mind.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah. This is my advice for anybody. Never go into business with somebody who purposely names themselves Haywire. That's a sign, baby.
Yeah.
Like fucking.
Not Rachel very well organized.
Yes.
That's
exactly.
Rachel filing cabinet.
Yes.
And
Rachel Excel spreadsheet. Yeah, I think that'd be fun. I bet you we could even get, I don't know, some kind of sponsorship
for the Extreme Futures Fest.
Yeah, the oral history.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get Aubrey de Grey to sponsor it.
Yeah, exactly. Aubrey de Grey. Well, again, we get Aubrey de Grey and Lydia Lunch and fucking Mark Pauline. Like, I mean, seriously, we just made a guest list of all the fucking amazing people. We could even have a Lisa tribute episode. You know. And there was
for some reason, I thought of her the other day. I was just like really struck with like sadness that she's no longer around.
Yeah. She's a tragic figure.
Yep.
Well, we did it.
We did it.
We ran out the clock. So they're shooting at your house?
No. Actually, my roommate's getting hypnotized.
Oh, okay.
So I just didn't want to say that in a...
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, it's good. It's like, yeah, you want to give them enough space to do whatever they need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Here, let me get Barney in the car here real quick.
Yeah.
Hey, come here, bud. Get in there. Good boy. Have a good one.
All right.
Look at that. 2 hours.
Nice. So it's like, what, 4?
Yeah, 4:30. Almost 4:20. Yeah. 69. That was fucking great. Yeah, I think